With me now is Kevin Murphy, member and Speaker of the House here at Province House. Thanks for joining me, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Kevin, what's the history of Province House?
Well, this building is the oldest legislative building in Canada, and it's one of the oldest legislative buildings in North America. This particular structure was built in 1819, and it was purpose-built for the Nova Scotia government to house the Assembly. And this is where the business of government gets conducted on a daily basis.
And it's a beautiful building.
It sure is. It's tremendously historic. It's architecturally significant, and the more you're in here, the more you get to appreciate what has happened between these walls over the last couple of hundred years.
And within its 200 years, there must be a lot of very interesting stories.
There is. I've only scratched the surface, but since I've been around in the 3 short months, one of the most fascinating things to me is to do with the trim and the motif that you see not only in this room but throughout the building, specifically with regards to the birds that are on the trim of the windows as we look around here. And if you look closely, you'll notice that quite a number of the birds, which it's debatable whether they're eagles or falcons, are missing their heads. And that story goes back to 1839, when there was a boundary dispute between the province of New Brunswick and the state of Maine to do with logging and forestry rights. And there was a member of the legislature, his name was Lawrence O'Connor Doyle, who had an issue with the Americans at the time, and he took it upon himself to use his walking stick to go around and seemingly at random and at his own free will clock the heads off of the birds. And over the course of the decades, and in fact a couple of hundred years, it's been a matter of great debate within the legislature itself and the people that are tasked with operating the building as to whether these birds should be restored and replaced. But at the end of the day, the pure history of the story and the significance of it, it certainly adds to the character of the building. So the status quo line as of this current speaker is to leave the birds as they are and be a part of the history of the building. So it's interesting to look around, and the more you look around, the more stories like that you see.
And I bet there are a billion other stories that the people could get, even from you maybe, when visiting the house. Yeah. So how can people get more information on visiting Province House?
Well, the building is open to the public 5 days a week. There's tours that are available if you're coming in with a group, whether that's a class or off of one of the many cruise ships that visit. The staff here is very accommodating, and of course we take every opportunity we can to brag, if I could use that word, to brag about our building here and the history that we're tasked with preserving here. So anybody can contact the legislature here and arrange a tour, or they can just simply drop in between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Speaker.
Thank you for the opportunity.